Courage Kids! I have another book I would like to share with you today. It is called What Does Love Look Like? Hesitantly, Emily stepped into the classroom, her new classroom. The room was already full of children, and she suddenly felt shy and alone. Too quickly, though, the teacher turned to her. "Welcome, Emily. We've been expecting you. I am Mrs. Creighton." Emily liked her smile. "Class, this is Emily Walters. We've all worn name tags today, just for you." Miss Creighton reached out her hand and led Emily to a desk near the back of the room. "We hope you'll enjoy our classroom." Emily slid into the chair, not daring to look around. Perhaps if she was very quiet, they'd all forget about the new girl in the back row. Miss Creighton removed her reading glasses and sat them on her desk. "We've been learning all about things you can see and measure this week. But there are many things that you can't hold in your hand or touch, things you can't measure with a ruler or ounces, and they are just as real." A boy in the first row shuffled his feet. "You mean, like air?" "That's a very good observation, Bobby, but air can be measured." One girl near Emily giggled, and Emily felt badly for Bobby. What if she had said the same thing? "You and I can't measure air," went on Miss Creighton. "I can't say to you, 'Give me a cupful of air,' or 'Pour a little more air into my pail.' But there are instruments that can measure air, so we know a lot about it." Miss Creighton paused. "I was thinking of totally different things, like love, for instance. Is love real?" Several had nodded energetically. A few of Emily's classmates even dared to say yes, all in chorus, soft and drawn out. "But if you were drawn a picture of a love, what would you draw?" A girl with pigtails raised her hand and waved it about like a little flag, her eyes sparkling. "Can we draw it?" she asked. The whole class groaned, except for Emily. One boy spoke up, frustration edging his voice. "Teacher just said you can't draw it," he corrected. "Well, maybe we can," Mrs. Creighton said. "Maybe we can't draw love like we would draw a bird or a tree. But it might be fun to draw ideas. I think that's a wonderful plan, Liz." Another groan. A smile lit Miss Creighton's face. "Let's use our imaginations and think. Let's draw some pictures to help us understand, to define what love is. Now, I know there are people who show you love in many different ways, so let's think about that feeling and how love might look if you could draw it." Emily frowned as she carefully took out a sheet of paper and her new box of crayons. It was hard enough to draw rabbits or cats, but love, who could draw that? The 16 students leaned over to their desks, drawing and erasing. Crayons scratched against paper, and chairs scraped against the floor as bodies shifted. Everyone was busy making a picture of love. Without warning, Emily's green crayon snapped, one half falling to the floor. Embarrassed, she helpfully watched as it rolled across her neighbor's desk. The other girl saw it. She reached down, her blue eyes twinkling. Emily noticed her name tag, Krista. Krista handed the broken crayon back to Emily. Emily smiled shyly as she took the broken crayon. She wondered if she dared whisper thanks. After several more minutes, Miss Creighton stood. "I think it's time to see where your imaginations have taken you," she announced. "Who would like to be first?" Emily slid low in her chair, hoping no one would volunteer her. She was thankful when Stacy raised her hand. Stacy scrambled from her desk and marched to the front of the class, where she held her picture up high. "Tell us why you drew a flower, Stacy," prompted the teacher. "I think love would be pretty and have bright colors. It makes people feel happy inside." Stacy beamed, first toward Mrs. Creighton, then towards the entire class. "Very good," says Mrs. Creighton, and the whole class clapped. The next girl held up a white piece of paper with two people. One held a big chocolate bar that had broken in two, and was handing to one piece to the other person. Emily thought it was a nice picture. "Let's see what you have drawn, Barkley." Barkley was walking up, waving his yellow sheet. In the middle was a bold brown square. "I think love is a big, big blanket, big enough to wrap up the whole world. All warm like my Grandma Smith's goose down." He grinned and swung in his seat. And then it was the girl next to Emily's turn. "This is a tree," Krista began, wriggling nervously. Someone smothered a laugh at a stern look from Mrs. Creighton. Krista wriggled even more and turned back to her picture, not looking at her classmates. I think that love has lots of branches. The branches are like people. Each person has trees, and it grows and grows, bigger and bigger, the more people you love. Krista's idea had been a good one. Emily glanced down at her own sheet, suddenly unsure. Down the row they went. One girl had kind of a messy sheet. I think love is a big, long, humongous table with a place for everyone. The boy next to Stomp Up held his picture in one hand high over his head. It's like a big, round globe, he explained. Everyone in the whole world is in it. Miss Creighton nodded. I hear many of you saying that love is for everyone, she said, and that love is good. Very, very good. A girl thumped to the front of the room on her crutches, her paper scrunched against the hard wood. She stopped and tried to rub out the creases with her palm before turning the orange paper to the class. In a circle, there are no rough edges to hurt people, and no corners for anyone to get pushed in and not noticed. The circle can get larger and larger to allow more people to come in. On they went down the rows. Emily found the nervous tingle in her tummy leaving as she heard about happy faces, umbrellas, bright yellow suns, fuzzy slippers, and a warm fireplace. There were so many good ideas about love. And then Miss Creighton was saying softly, and now it is our new student's turn. Emily, do you have a picture for us? Emily slowly rose from her seat and dipped her head shyly. She picked up her sheet of light blue paper, her favorite color, and walked to the front of the room. She didn't feel quite as new now, nor quite as scared, but she still felt a bit unsure about showing her picture to the whole class. She took a deep breath as she held it up. I think this is how love looks. To her surprise, her voice sounded loud enough for the entire class to hear. For a moment, the room was silent. A few of Emily's classmates wrinkled their foreheads in confusion, and others whispered to each other. Some nodded their heads, and 3 or 4 even smiled. The silence was broken by the loud sound of Miss Creighton clapping. Others joined in, until soon everyone was applauding. I think we should put Emily's picture on the special merit board, suggested Stacy. With a nod and a smile, Miss Creighton took out some tape and handed it to Emily. No one rushed from the classroom when the recess buzzer sounded. They all sat and watched as Emily walked to the special merit board and hung her picture up high where everyone could see it. And this is what Emily drew. You can read all about this great love in the Bible, God's Word. In the book of John, it tells us that God loved the world so much that He sent His only Son, Jesus, to die in our place, paying the penalty for the sins that have separated us from a loving God. We are to accept this love and God's pardon, feel sorry for our wrongdoing, and ask Him to give us a new, clean heart so we can be welcomed into the wonderful place called heaven when we die. Read the book of John. It'll tell you the whole amazing story, a story all about love. Thank you for reading with me today, Bridge Kids. Bye!